Good morning and welcome to Inside Jacksonville, a production of the UNF Department of Communication and CW17. I'm Melody Hopkins.
And I'm Andrew Potashnik. We're here each month with stories about life on the First Coast.
It's our last show of the season, so we're going out by paying recognition to some people that have touched lives here in Jacksonville.
Today, you'll meet everyday people who've made a big difference in the lives of others. Today, we call them heroes.
Our first hero is someone who was able to turn grief into good. Dealing with the loss of a child may seem nearly impossible. Who needs a hero more than a grieving parent? This is the story of a woman who is both a hero who understands that kind of loss.
Country. Yeah. Spain.
Drew Haramis teaches third grade at St. Mark's Episcopal Day School. To most people, being a teacher is hero enough, but she takes it one step further. 4 years ago, Haramis lost her 15-year-old daughter in a car accident.
She was a great girl. She loved dancing. She loved her friends. She was just always happy and upbeat. She loved life. And she loved living life.
Haramis says dealing with the loss was the hardest thing she's ever done. Any parent in that position would say the same. Understanding that, Haramis helped create an organization to support other parents who have lost children. She and 4 others started Angels for Allison. She says helping families through their grief helps Allison's legacy live on.
Literally every second, Allison pops into my mind. It's just, I function doing it. I can teach, I can have my life, I can have, my regular world, but Allison's constantly in my mind. So to know that from that tragic, horrible event, we were able to do something to help others is huge, because that's what Allison would have wanted.
Pam Oates is one of the founding members. Before Allison died, Oates began painting in her garage, never dreaming her creations would become Angels for Allison, a way to raise funds to help parents who lost children.
She kept telling her husband, don't throw these away. I'm going to do something good. So when this all started, she said she pretty much had a dream, and God said those angels are for Allison.
The death of a child is always an emotional shock, but it can be a financial shock as well. Unexpected funeral services only add to the burden. That's where Angels for Allison comes in, sending proceeds directly to funeral homes. Since its founding, Angels for Allison has raised about $200,000 and helped some 30 families. Individuals as well as groups come into the studio to volunteer their time painting these angels.
And not only are you helping pay for a funeral for a child, to help their family, but you're also getting a one-of-a-kind piece of art, because every one of them are different, because so many different people paint them. And
Mary Lee Willits is another founding member. She says painting these angels creates a sense of community for those supporting the cause.
2.5 years into it now, I bet we've hit 1,000 people that have come through the studio doors or helped us at our events. And I think everyone here feels a sense of community that is unique, because they're helping to specifically make something to benefit someone in need.
Willits says Angels for Allison has touched her life in a profound way, a way she never thought possible.
I cannot tell you what it's meant to me, but having been witness to 3 friends lose daughters in the past 3 years, Angels for Allison has given me a sense of peace and hope.
This sense of peace and hope is what Drew wants everyone to take from Angels for Allison.
more than anything, I think it just warms your heart, because it's such a gift. And it's a gift while you're in there painting, and you may not realize that, but by the time you get in there and you get going, you just get relaxed, and it's a fun thing for you to do. But in the back of your mind, you also know that what you're doing is a great thing that's going to help somebody.
Somebody like Kimmy Clark. She works in the billing department at Baptist Health. She and her husband lost their son Chance last year. He had a birth defect and lived just 43 days.
It all happened so fast, you know. One day he's here and then he's gone.
Chance's mom is very thankful to Angels for Allison for helping her during this time. Not only did the organization help her finance her son's cremation, but they've also helped her through the grieving process.
Just the warm embraces, it's just, and you really need it. Sometimes when you're grieving and people don't know what to say, just a hug, it says 1,000 words, and they have truth. I mean, immediately when I came, they embraced me, and I'm like, wow. And I needed that.
Drew Harama says she's taking it one day at a time, but helping others through their grief has helped her immensely too.
So it seems like a pretty great organization.
It definitely is. I actually went into the studio to paint angels over the weekend, and it's beautiful.
Awesome, sounds good.
Heroes aren't always the people out in front, though.
Rebecca Ely has a story of a man who shows up quietly when people need him most.
Anthony Mosley is the Food and Services Director at the Salvation Army. He's been with the Salvation Army for 5 years. He believes he's there for a reason.
I grew to enjoy it, and if they say God put you where He wants you to be, He put me in the Salvation Army to help others.
No matter what the reason, his employees say they're very happy he's there. They believe Mosley is that man in their organization.
The Salvation Army is that community. He is the man in that community. He makes things work here.
Mosley says he's a far different person than he was when he first got here. Before, he had a good job and never thought twice about the homeless, like the people he works with now. That's because he ended up homeless himself.
I grew up working in country clubs, and I really never cared about the homeless. I was one of the guys that would say, you know, why don't you go get a job? And I didn't realize that being homeless is not just something that can happen to you, it can happen to anybody.
Mosley says he stumbled upon the Salvation Army when he needed a home. He stayed at the shelter and volunteered for 8 days. That earned him a job as Food and Services Director. He says he's now a man who gives back to those knowing they can never repay him.
Now I go to church all the time. I never went to church before. I didn't have time for church. Now I get involved in the community. I go out and do community events. I do everything that I can possibly do for other people instead of before being selfish and just doing it for myself.
Robert Smith, one of Mosley's employees, thinks the world of him. This is the 3rd year Smith has been working for Mosley. Smith says Mosley treats everybody that he meets as an equal.
Jesus type. And what I mean by that Jesus type, like I said again, there is no just because you are this, there is no looking over you or past you. It's still on the same level of respect and everything in the community.
Mosley says he couldn't be happier than where his life is right now. He knows he is making a difference. An example of hope from someone who's been there himself. Rebecca Ely, Inside Jacksonville.
It's kind of incredible how people can take these tragic circumstances and turn them into something positive.
That is definitely true. That was a great story.
Absolutely. Anyone who has ever tried to lose a few pounds has one word for people who lose a lot of weight and keep it off: hero.
Margie Castro introduces us to someone who fits that bill. Margie?
There are millions of Americans who struggle with obesity. Not every one of them are able to take it off and keep it off. This hero happens to be one of them. He's a UNF student, and over the course of 2 years, he was able to change his body and his life.
Nico Papadis keeps a strict daily routine, from going to school early to going to the gym 6 days a week to watching his diet.
I never drank a lot of soda to begin with.
But these healthy habits weren't always part of his routine. Papadis was always big. As a teen, he was severely obese, 250 pounds by the time he was 17. Today, he's half the teen he used to be.
I lost the weight at a very steady pace. I was losing about like 2 pounds a week, which is really good and healthy and normal. So I never really saw it until I took like one picture after 1 year, and then I was like, wow, that's crazy. And now this recent picture I took of before and after, because I was building after that. So just like seeing the results to lose it all, and then put on some muscle after that, it was kind of cool to see the transformation. It was really sudden, and I didn't even realize it. Sometimes I think back and I don't even remember it. So.
As a teenager, Papadis never really thought of himself as overweight.
I had good friends all the time. Nobody ever, I was never made fun of for it or anything like that.
His friends made a big part of his journey. Through motivation and encouragement, they kept him on track to achieve his ultimate goal. Roxanne Chara was one of those friends.
Actually, I don't really remember how it came about, how he started his, his journey on, trying to change his life around and lose the weight and all of that. But we did see like major changes like throughout, but the end result was like amazing. It's kind of funny because now we're in college and people meet him and they never knew who he was before. So it's kind of cool to see like the old Nico and the new Nico.
Andrew Paredes is a personal trainer at the UNF Wellness Complex. He says maintaining a healthy lifestyle from an early age and exercising regularly is basic.
You may be able to expand your life maybe 1 or 2 years. You prevent heart disease. Your bones can get stronger as well from working out.
Papadis also says that even though he avoids most of the unhealthy foods, every once in a while he takes breaks and treats himself, like most college students.
I'm in college, like if I see free food, I'm gonna get it. Free food doesn't have calories, I always say. So. But honestly, like I indulge a little bit every now and then. Otherwise, what's the point of all this if you can't enjoy yourself every now and then? But I'm just more conscious now. I try to avoid things. I know when to say no.
Papadis has reached his ideal weight, but he's still focused on maintaining his healthy lifestyle, and he continues to push even harder.
I still have a long way to go, obviously. I believe, I would be a lot closer if I had started doing this a lot earlier in life, just because, I understand the science behind all this stuff. It really interests me. I do all the research. So I know like where I want to be, and I know how to get there. It's just kind of like I said, time is the only thing in the way. I'm nowhere near my perfect body.
Papadis says it took a lot of hard work to get into the shape he's in today, but he also said it was definitely worth it. And he plans to keep up his new exercise routine. Andrew and Melody?
Margie, everyone says the toughest thing about dieting is giving up the foods they love. So did he say anything about having to give up his favorite foods?
Yes, for him it was really hard to give up bread and sugar, but he was really committed to his diet. I wish I had that type of determination. Back to you guys.
Wow, thank you, Margie. I don't know, I would have a tough time giving up soda, I think.
Yeah, I think I could give up anything except for coffee, so I don't know.
Big coffee drinker.
Yeah. Imagine how tough it would be getting along without arms or legs. Coming up, the story of a hero who's both an inspiring leader and a soccer player.
And later, the story of a hero who can help people overcome their fears by taking one small step. Don't go away.